Welcome back to SportLab, your home for all things football. Today, we're breaking down Chelsea's 3-1 win over Wolves, a game that had it all: goals, drama, and redemption. Chelsea climbed into the Premier League's top four, ending their 5-game winless league run, while Wolves' defensive woes continue. Let's dive into the action.
Well done. Important win tonight. End of a tough run of results back at the top four. But how did you feel about the performance?
But I think the first 40 minutes we were top. The performance was very good. Completely dominate the game, score, chances. And then the last 5 minutes happened what is happening many times in the last 4 or 5 games. We lost a little bit of confidence. We conceded the goal, and we start to be a little bit not afraid, but to struggle a little bit. And then second half, I think we start quite well. And then after the second and the third goal, I think the game was in control.
Yeah, you mentioned recently the game management. Do you feel like at least it was a shorter period where you felt you lost control of the match? Do you see progress in the sense?
Yeah, absolutely. We lost the control probably, as I said, the last 5 minutes of first half. Then second half, we start. I think we start well, and when we scored, the game was under control.
And a team with a few changes, new injuries. How pleased were you to see both your central defenders, especially doing so well with Tosin scoring, of course, but Trevor, he wasn't even training with you not so long ago, and he looked very comfortable.
Absolutely, yeah, they did fantastic, Tosin and Trev. But I think all of them, also Keenan, Disbury, that was a long time without, game. And overall, I think the performance was good, unless probably, as I said, the last 5-10 minutes of first half.
And with Cucurella, when he scored, he starts the play and then he carries the ball and he almost scores from a striker position. How's it been for you this season to unlock these new spaces that he's been exploring so well?
Yeah, for me it's more about being in the right position. No matter if you are tall or if you are small or if you are, for me it's matter to be in the right position. And the goal that he scored against Brentford and he scored against today is because in the same position, is in the right position. And Mark is very intelligent, very clever, and is doing fantastic with us.
In this run, you always said that you were focusing on the performance, on the team still creating chances. But what type of effect do you expect this win, after 5 matches without winning, this win to have on the team, especially with such a tough opponent ahead in Manchester City?
Yeah, absolutely. But now it's, now we are happy we won the game. Then from tomorrow we're gonna start to think about City. That for sure will be a tough game. But in the last 5 games we didn't win. But I said many times, I think the performance was there. We created many chances, we didn't score, and tonight we scored 3 goals.
It wasn't decisive in the end, but on Wolves' goals and Robert Sanchez, you stood up for him several times this season. You've spoken about him a lot of times. It was his 4th mistake leading to a goal. Why do you feel these mistakes keep happening?
You said 4th mistake, and how many times he saved us? I think more than 4. So happen, no problem. Happen to him, to mistake, happen to the striker, center defender, no problem. Robert is doing well.
And finally, we spoke briefly before the game. You mentioned Colwill being an injury and not too bad, but Enzo a bit more complicated.
Yeah, Enzo probably we need some more days. I'm not sure for the next game. We see.
Thank you.
The most of it. And they have conceded again from 18 and 19 set pieces this season, and that is the good news for Chelsea. Back into the top 4, remember, top 5 could well be enough for Champions League football next season. And Chelsea back on the climb again after a difficult spell over Christmas and the start of the new year. How convincing were they, Jamie Carragher?
They were in the end. I think there was a spell certainly in the first half. They were pretty dominant, I would say, first sort of 20-25 minutes. Then they allowed Wolves to get back into the game. Wolves get that goal mistake from the goalkeeper. And at the start of the second half, you're not quite sure how it will go. The atmosphere felt a little bit flat, in the stadium, maybe on the back of the run that they're on at the moment, Chelsea. But I think as soon as we went 2-1, I didn't think we really felt at any stage in that Chelsea wouldn't win the game.
Do you think the atmosphere has been a little bit of a problem for Chelsea this season?
At home, yeah, because I think they are more vocals, away from home, the fans, more supporting, their teams and their players. And I agree, it was quite a little bit quiet, tonight at Stamford Bridge.
But is this a big step in the right direction? Not maybe in terms of the performance, but in terms of the result, the confidence they might be able to take from that?
It was not the best performance so far from Chelsea, but at least they got the 3 points, thanks to the defenders.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Tossing with the first one. Let's have a look at it. It comes from the corner, as you said, and Wolves have had real problems keeping these out this season. This is the 18th they conceded.
Yeah, it's just a mess. Listen, it's a different manager with the same group of players. It's a little bit unfortunate. I think a lot of the time when a set piece comes on, a big part of it is getting the first contact, and Wolves do that. And more often than not, you clear your lines there, but it's not a great header. But you can see his own side. This is what VAR is for. It's just Cunha at the back post. I think his heel just plays toast.
So as an attacking player, is it just a sharpness in terms of organisation? Once you've cleared your lines, get out?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that he's deeper initially because I think he's marking the front space, so he just doesn't get out quick enough. But it's always a difficult one, that really. It's difficult when you've got to go out really quickly in a short space of time to all be exactly in the same line. We
criticised Robert Sanchez at half-time for the way he dealt with Wolves' equalising goal. Do you think he might have learned a big lesson tonight?
Yeah, because a couple of minutes before this corner, he took the right decision. He punched the ball, and he should have done the same on this corner because he was surrounded by players. He was very close to his own line, so he took, for me, a risk, and he should have punched the ball. Definitely.
Is it easy sometimes for the goalkeeper, though, just to get dragged into almost the scrap that's going on around him and start trying to
and you
get
see the arm of the Wolves player, so...
Santi Bueno at the near post.
So don't take a risk, just punch the ball, He did it right before that, on the corner or set pieces. He did it brilliantly, so I don't know why he changed his mind.
Every goalkeeper's got this problem now on every set piece. I don't think I see any team with a corner now and not trying to get round the goalkeeper. I mean, in the past when we were playing, there's always been one player by the goal, maybe the striker of the opposition team.
And the challenge of the goalkeeper was different, back in the days.
Yeah, but now it feels like there's 2 or 3 players around the goalkeeper.
So we always used to say, catch it if you can.
Yeah.
Are we changing that advice to goalkeepers now then? Because
I think it was more of the case as he was almost going backwards into the goal. It was almost felt like he was going to have to keep it, even if he'd have caught it, he's almost been trying to keep it out of the line. And I just think in that situation now, I think that probably is the best advice for goalkeepers, as he did on the next corner just before half-time, especially with the amount of bodies in the 6-yard box now. So
Wolves probably on the up going into that half-time interval, and we wondered what we were going to get from Chelsea. How did they get the goal that was all-important, Jamie, to put them 2-1 up?
Well, if you remember when we looked at Wolves under the new manager and we highlighted the system that he was playing, but also the adventure he wanted from his wing-backs. And the situation they find themselves here is that the 2 wing-backs, Noni, who obviously started on the left, but after about 15, 20 minutes of the first half, got moved on to the right, and Semedo went from the right to the left in the same situation in the first half. There's your 2 wing-backs on the both sides of the pitch. So, I mean, that's not great, but you just see the situation now. And we mentioned in the first half the system that Chelsea are playing. Brilliant from Caicedo. And then before you know it, Cucurella's in this position. Nori's almost thinking that the man on the ball is not going to lose the tackle to Caicedo and he can run in behind. So already the goal scorer for Chelsea is ahead of him. And then you go back to that system that we talked about earlier on as well, where you've got those players here, there. So you've almost got Caicedo deeper, Dewsbury Hall, Cucurella and Cole Palmer ahead of him. And that's the system that teams are now playing against teams that play this system of 5-2-3. So before you know it then, that's your centre-back going out. And already you can see the problem here at the back post. Nori's in between, Cucurella's in between Nori and the other centre-back there, Doherty there. So they're out of position, but they still get back into the back 5. But listen, credit to the manager. He's actually put Cucurella in this position, in this high number 8 position on the left. He scored a winning goal, I think, a few weeks ago at home. But what's going to happen here is when you see Nori just come back, I think he thinks he's done his job.
It's too easy.
He just slows down now. You sprint back, you think you're back in, and these are the details that make a difference. They're fighting for their lives, Wolves here. Fighting for their lives, Emmanuel.
It's too easy, They were they were drawing you at this moment, so it's too easy to come back. And Iraola, the Wolves manager, must have been he talked about the lack of balance of this team, especially in transition when they lose the ball. This is exactly what happened. The commitment when you go back to your goal to protect your defense and your goalkeeper, you're 1-1. So everything can happen in this game. And you're coming back like this, you have to give everything, you know. The commitment is not there on this occasion.
They still needed to put a little bit of headroom between themselves and Wolves. Only one goal in it at that stage. And lovely moment this for Trevor Chalobah.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, you talk about Wolves against set pieces again. I mean, the record is shocking. And the goalkeeper, I must say, the goalkeeper's been awful all season for Wolves. He really has. Finds himself in no man's land. But Chalobah thinks he's got the goal. Look, he's there. And we just take it back now. Sorry, I think I just missed it on this angle. You just see the reaction of Chalobah. He's actually wanting. So you just see the man who heads it. Just keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him as it's going in.
It's my goal.
So he's going to get it, but just keep an eye on him. He starts looking at the lines. Look, he's checking, he's claiming, he's either wants it offside or he doesn't. Yeah, if he's not going to get the goal, he's not going to get it. But I think we'd all say, wouldn't he, in that situation, just make sure it's a goal. Be careful you don't get caught offside. That's always the worry.
Jamie,
you think he should have left it?
Of course. But that's the difference between...
It might not have gone in.
No, come on. That's the difference between defenders and strikers, you know. Strikers is all about stats, you know. And they're quite selfish on the pitch all the time. I'm happy for Madueke, you know. He scored, fair enough. But I think he should have let the ball going into the net.
He can't do that.
He was playing the match, Trevor Chalobah. Is that something that he deserved tonight, given the way he's performed? Coming straight back into the Chelsea team?
Yeah, I think he did a strong performance tonight. I think he deserved to be named man of the match. And he was strong in defense. He had a couple of moments, you know, in the first time when he was not there, you know, in terms of position. That is normal because he just came back into the team. But I think he made some great impact defensively, but as well up front, you know, on set pieces and corner. And thanks to the defenders tonight, they scored at least 3 goals, 2.5 goals. But they were brilliant tonight, I think, all of them.
It's really important how he played today, and credit to him, because you don't see players really go on loan at that age. Going on loan is something that you do as a young player. When you get to 25, you get sold, really. But to be put on loan, which basically means that the manager and the hierarchy at the club do not think you're good enough, and they've got 4 or 5 other centre-backs there.
Maresca said it was a financial decision at the time.
No. Well, maybe they're still looking for a centre-back because they've got problems there, but the fact that he's still the player, they don't have to go and buy someone, they can bring someone in, I get that. But to go back into that dressing room where he's probably been, him and his agent have probably been a little bit at loggerheads with the club in the summer. I want to go on loan, I want to go to a certain club, what's the transfer fee, all these discussions that go around, players moving on now. And then to almost feel like, you know, I want to show Chelsea, prove them wrong a little bit, and then they bring him back and he puts a performance in like that. So, you know, it wouldn't have been easy for him to go back into that sort of dressing room with everyone thinking, you know, that the club didn't feel he was good enough. So credit to him tonight.
He was pretty regular, you know, games, you know, with Crystal Palace. He was enjoying his game so far, you know, from the start of the season. So I wonder what he thought, you know, when Chelsea asked him to come back, because he knows that the competition to earn your first 11 place is very tight, you know, at Chelsea. He knows that there is a couple of defenders, especially central defenders, that are out for injuries. So when they get back, what will happen to him?
Well, you know how quickly things can change in football, right? So, you know, he goes away to Palace.
If he does that kind of performance, you know, it's all about convincing your manager that you have the right to be part of the first 11.
Well, he might well have had a goal. He had an assist, and it was Noni Madueke who managed to put this result beyond doubt. And I'm very pleased to say that he joins us live now from Stamford Bridge. Noni, congratulations. I'm not sure that the Wolves people are going to be sending you flowers after this one tonight. It's 6 Premier League goals now. That's 4 against Wolves. Come on, what's going on here?
No, obviously, I got a hat-trick earlier on in the season and just another one today. Yeah, I'm delighted with the 3 points. It's been a tough run for us, and yeah, no, I'm always happy to score goals, especially somewhat easy ones like that. So
it was right on the line. I think you've got a monitor there, Noni, so we can actually show you. Did you think straight away, I've got to make sure this is going over the line?
Yeah, for sure. It's instinct, you know, it's attacker's instinct. I think I knew it was going over the line, but I said to Trev after, man, assist on his on his first game back is great for him. But I had to put this in the net. I had to put this in the net for sure. Yeah.
It didn't look like he was too happy with you when you were celebrating.
No, that's my brother. He was telling me, no way you took my goal, no way you took my goal. But I told him, I said, bro, come on, you have to understand that this is what they pay me to do.
What did you think of his performance, Noni, coming back tonight and into the team?
Unbelievable. Leadership, character, bravery on the ball. Of course, the system from the manager is difficult to play, and he slotted in seamlessly. So I'm really delighted for him, and yeah, it's no coincidence that players like him and Reece back in and we won the game. You know, they're Chelsea through and through, and yeah, they helped us tonight with their leadership for sure.
Noni, you mentioned, you know, what you did at Wolves early on the season, getting a hat-trick. You had a brilliant start to the season. You've been in and out the team of late. You've come back and got a goal. But the manager has been really pushing you, saying you're capable of much more. You've got huge potential. Can you explain how those discussions have gone about and, you know, how you feel about them?
Yeah, obviously, when the manager kind of criticises you, it's not always nice. But I do know that it's coming from a great place, and he's trying to improve me. So you just have to take it on the chin and try and get better every day, which I try and do, especially with my goals and assists and just helping the team in every aspect. And yeah, that's what I try and do. And thankfully today I had a hand in the second and the third goal. And yeah, we just move on to Man City and try and do the same.
But on that same theme, Noni, what do you feel is within you talent-wise? Do you think you can get better and develop even more as a player? You're hitting high levels already.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely the goal. Look, I'm 22 years old. This is my second full season in the Premier League, so for sure there's there's many aspects in my game that can grow. And yeah, no, I work hard every single day to try and do so. So yeah, definitely. I don't think I'm anywhere near the potential that I have inside me. So yeah, just trying to fulfil that, you know. So yeah.
Well, Noni, on the back of obviously your impressive performance this season for Chelsea and tonight, Thomas Tuchel was watching the game tonight. We spoke to him just after the game, and he said you were the standout figure. I mean, you must be really pleased with that.
No, I spoke to him earlier on this week, and we kind of had a laugh about the game. I told him that I scored a hat-trick in the earlier fixture, and he said, well, you better go and score again then. So I'm happy that I was able to do so, and yeah, chuffed that he thought I played well today.
I feel like I need to clarify, Noni. Jamie's having one of his wind-ups, but
I'm sure he will think you played well. We all did. He thinks the same as us, don't worry.
No, that was a good one. That's well played.
Noni, let me ask you about the team. You've gone on a tricky run of results. How much did you need this tonight? What do you think is still possible for your team this season?
Chelsea back in the top.
I just want to say that we have to just, obviously it's not nice not winning in 5, and we're really happy that we won today, but we just have to take it game by game. We're not feeding into any of that talk that was happening earlier around us when we were winning all the games, you know. So I feel like
let me just stop you there, Noni. Why not? Why when we were talking about Chelsea being capable of winning the title, why do you think that's not the right thing for us to be talking?
I feel like when that started, we went winless in 5, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. To be honest, we just want to focus on the game by game, and we know the goals that we're trying to achieve, and I think we're on the right path to doing so.
So when the manager says to us that you can't win the titles because you're not ready, what do the players in the dressing room think when they hear that?
We don't really talk about it, to be fair, but I'm just going to say whatever the manager said, that's what I believe as well. So
that's the perfect response. Noni, congratulations, and I'm sure we'll see you in the England squad as well. Well done.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Jamie, you're terrible.
He gave us a bit of an exclusive, didn't he, He spoke to the manager.
Yeah, so that's the key to getting exclusives, just making stuff up.
Nice guy.
Nice guy, and an impressive performer, man.
Seems to be a nice guy, yeah.
Think he's got a big future?
Yeah, I think he's got great skill, great abilities, but I think he needs to be more consistent, you know.
I think
Trevor wasn't so convinced.
No, I think it's really interesting listening to the quotes of the manager, and when you've got a player as talented as he is, I think managers get.
You see, they have an argument.
Still winding up each other about it. I think managers, if you speak to managers, the thing that frustrates them most is unfulfilled potential of players. And when he said he didn't like the fact that the manager come out and spoke publicly, nobody likes that. But the manager's probably tried everything else, maybe something being tough on him in training, maybe making him an afternoon session, doing other work, bringing him in on a one-on-one, showing him video clips. He's tried everything, and that's the frustrating thing when they know there's a player there who can actually do more than what they're showing. And what he's shown this season's been good. But the manager actually believes he could be very good and be an absolute superstar. So that's why he's pushing, that's why he's saying, that's why I wanted to ask him and see his reaction from it, because I think when managers react like that and speak about a player like that, it's because they know there's so much more from him. And that's the thing that will really disappoint managers and should disappoint players who they speak about like that when they've got that, that sort of talent. So I think it's really important he keeps sort of honouring him, because I think there's no doubt he's a real talent.
Yeah, I remember at the start of the season, he sent one message, Maresca to Madueke. Didn't receive it. He sent a second message, and then the third one, he took him off, from the first team. So he sent a great message, to the dressing room. Hard decision has to be done, and he did it, Maresca. That's why I think players like Madueke, if they are intelligent enough, humble as well, I think they will learn from it, and they will reach next step.
He could go all the way. Sky's the limit, isn't it, for Noni Madueke?
Ranks alongside Robbie Earle and Danny Higginbotham, guys. It was much needed. We spoke so much about this kind of mid-season slump that Chelsea had been experiencing. What positives do you take from them tonight?
Well, the 3 points was important, gets them back into the top four. It was an example of what Chelsea are about. Lots of potential, and you can see the goals threat, but not perfect. I thought there was a 15-minute spell in that game that decided 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Second half, at 1-1, the game was in the balance. You weren't sure at times which way it was going to go. Chelsea got through it, had good game management, got the second goal, went on, and once they got the second, then you start to see the confidence in the normal play. But there was a 15-minute spell. We talked about the experience. Sometimes you've got to go through it. There was 15 minutes today that they went through and have come out the other side. And that's the biggest thing I can take away from today.
Danny, how different were Chelsea after scoring the second goal than they were after scoring the first goal and then obviously led an equaliser?
It is. It's the relief, and I think the home fans have a huge part to play as well, because as young players you can be affected by, by the fans, whether it's loud, whether it's quiet. And we talk about this being a very young squad, which it is, but I want to give great credit to Maresca. It's only his second full season as a manager, and what he said at half-time, he would have reset everything, got the players to calm down, because he's still learning as well. So I think, as Robbie's quite rightly said, the 45 to 60 minutes, I think that's what won them the game, but that was probably a lot to do with what Maresca did and the things that he was telling the younger players, obviously, during half-time.
I'd like to mention one player as well who wasn't brilliant on the ball and wasn't like eye-catching. Moises Caicedo could become the leader that Chelsea wanted. We talked about there's not a John Terry, there's not that type in this group, but this young guy who was bought for a lot of money and much maligned last season, his game's developing, his game's maturing, he's in the central midfield position, so he's attached to the defenders behind him, he's attached to the attackers in front of him. I think he could grow into being a real important leader, almost captain for this football club. I know Reece James has got the role at the moment, but Moises Caicedo, just keep watching his development, because it's coming slowly, even when it's not that eye-catching on the ball.
And I think we forget that sometimes. Some of these young players at Chelsea were brought in for unbelievable amounts of money. So straight away, that brings the pressure. And for younger players, it's difficult to deal with that. But the fact that we're talking about Caicedo and we're not talking about his transfer fee, we're talking about it as if it's like, no, that's good, it's good business. That's going to help them evolve as players.
Yes, 60th and 65th minute is when those second and third goals came. They ultimately were the difference maker. It was a wonderful night at home for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They needed the 3 points. They've moved up inside the top four.
Back to winning ways for Chelsea and into the top four of the Premier League. They turned the screw in the second half. As you rightly said, Roy, curious goals, but they'll certainly take them in this situation. 2-1, Marco Carragher scored it and started it.
Yes, it was a wonderful goal, that one, really. It's a really good run that he makes there, and they're the runs which aren't easy to pick up always. I think you need your fullback to tuck round very much in those situations. I think in a situation where there are two players free, in actual fact, you'll see, I think you're better off leaving the furthest one free and getting at least in front of the nearest one. But unfortunately, the fullback doesn't get back in quick enough.
Yeah, it's a late one. It's very hard to pick up, isn't it? With the foot. Sometimes you can see midfield runners. Certainly, you can see strikers or even wide men. You can track the runs. But when it's a full-back and they get forward into these positions, it's really difficult, isn't it?
But if you see the position there of the full-back, Noni, he's really outside of the line that he needs to be in. He needs to be in at least a line with the other two defenders, and well inside of the person going to make the run. And then, of course, you'd have to accept that if the cross goes over his head to the further one, you can't blame him. But you don't want him getting done on the inside like he's been done there.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, from Chelsea's point of view, they'll love that goal.
Great goal, yeah.
They'll love it. They'll, you know, Carragher, as you mentioned, Steve, he started the move. He then continues. He goes into midfield. He sees an opportunity to run into the box. I mean, we're seeing it more and more from certain teams now, but Carragher gets in the box all the time. There's a couple of times in the first half that was nearly on the end of crosses as well, and very difficult to pick up. No wide man, no attacker wants to track their man all the way back. So inevitably, you get a free man a lot of the time in a dangerous position. So it worked a treat for that, and that was the goal that they needed to get their authority back in the game.
Yeah, and the goal that made absolutely sure. We could have had a story of 3 defenders scoring in one game.
Oh,
I think you appreciated Madueke's situation. You've had 1 or 2 like this down the years, haven't you?
Yeah, thankfully an attacking player scored. I wouldn't have heard the end of it, all these defenders. But actually, I thought it was poor defending from Doherty, who scored a goal, scored the Wolves goal. But I mean, when the ball goes over everybody's heads, they almost fall asleep at the back post. You know, once the ball goes over their head, you've got to turn and you've got to be ready again. But you can see 2 bodies at the back post there, Roy, queuing up to score while 2 Wolves players sleeping.
Yeah, to be fair, they're not easy to defend those headers back across the goal. It was a really good goal, and credit really to both Madueke and Jackson, who saw the opportunity there. I think it's easy to sort of criticise the defenders should not be caught moving across, you know, for that. But that was the problem. They all move across. As the ball goes to that back post, everybody is moving across. So when the header comes back, they're on the wrong foot anyway. Their body shape's not right, as you rightly pointed out. But it's a harder thing to defend than one sometimes imagines. And all credit to Madueke, who's quick to read it there. And if not, Jackson's behind him.
Yeah, Roy's being kinder than me. I mean, I see Doherty there as a defender when the ball goes out. I understand it's not so easy, but he literally leaves his man and runs out of the 6-yard box. And I thought that was a strange move, because I'm wondering, why is he doing that? He's not trying to play offside. He just almost vacates the area, leaves his man, and his man scores. But no, I get it. Once the ball goes over your head, to switch back onto a new phase of attack, new angles, new players, it changes the game.
It's second phase in the box, which is so important. You know, all the times I was working, you know, from crosses and from corner kicks, it's always trying to encourage your players not to get totally caught up in the first phase. Let the person who's in the first phase, in the heading duel, that's nothing to do with you, but don't you get caught up in that. You keep concentrating on what your job is. As Michael's rightly pointed out, his job there was not to allow Madueke to get in front of him. But it does happen more often than you think, and so many goals are scored on that second phase from a cross or a corner kick, more than you think.
And you're right, it's understandable. You think the ball, you're concentrating on not letting your man score, and then when the ball goes out of your area, you think, phew, that's it, that's the job done. It's all, and then all of a sudden, and an attacker's job is totally the opposite.
Exactly.
You see the ball going out of your zone, and you think, no, you don't turn and what? You think, right, how am I going to score again? How am I going to score again? Every split second, you're thinking, where's the opportunity? How can I get on the end of it? So it's a different way of thinking, of course. One's an optimist, one's a pessimist. But yeah, I think Wolves could have provided. They certainly will be frustrated that they conceded it on a set piece.
But you loved Madueke being alive.
Absolutely. I'd expect nothing less from my attacking player. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of goals scored from set pieces tonight, so it just shows you the importance of them. You know, defenders coming up, using their size, their strength, and but that time it was an attacking player that just thinks differently. Let's say, smells something that could happen. Or, you know, as I say, as aside from Doherty then, and I like that. I mean, obviously, it wasn't a special finish, but just his awareness and his anticipation, I think, is to be commended.
Are they any even bigger part of the game than we've seen in a long time at the moment, these set plays? seems to be, you know, we've got specialist coaches, we've got, you know, record numbers. Is it becoming even more pertinent, do you think, Roy?
One always seems to think so, and yet when you see the statistics at the end of the year and the percentage of goals scored from set plays, it seems to stay fairly stable around the 35-36% mark, which is always strange. And of course, it depends what you mean by set plays as well, really. I mean, it's... I think one needs to break it down from corner kicks, from shots outside the box, direct free kicks, from the wide free kick that comes in. I'd like to see all that compartmentalised. But it's always been a very big part of the game. There's no doubt about that. And what we definitely have seen over the years I've been working, the quality of delivery is getting better and better. You've still got the situation, if you want to really score goals from set plays, you need people who can get on the end of the ball from the ball that's played in. To be fair, the ball's coming in now. If they do get on the end of it, makes scoring that a little bit easier. But you can go right back to the famous Leeds team with Reilly and Charlton and all those people, you know, basically decent ball in, Jackie Charlton or Tony Adams want to get their head on the ball, and John Terry, they get their head on the ball. Yeah. You know, and so nothing really changes strategically, but I do think, you know, it's always been a very, very important part of the game. And I think that we are seeing now people coming into coaching staffs who really have got only one job, and that is to constantly analyse the opponents, where their weaknesses could be, to work possibly on different little movements. But I've got to say, I've not really seen that many free kicks, however clever they are, where I'm saying I've never seen that before. They've always been there, but people's ability to really hone in and get the best out of situations, that's, you know, with Arsenal, how many times are the goals they score to do with Gabriel?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I just wonder, when you were managing, even in the last couple of years, the day before a match, how much time would you spend on telling the group something, or in the week leading up to the game, something? Let's say you were playing Arsenal, for example, at the moment, with Gabriel.
Well, you'd use your video analysis. That would be probably the major thing you do. Of course, you would go through it as well on the field, but the problem with going through on the field of play, and I learned this very early on, just before a European game when I was in Sweden, you know, having players in there, having balls fizzed in as they're going to be fizzed in, and having people defending like they should defend, you risk injury. You know, I lost a player from a head injury, you know, it was a heading duel and one got cut and that's it, couldn't play the next day. So we're always very conscious of that. So a lot of it is done more or less in shadow play. In not every club, I'm sure, but in my clubs I've always done it more shadow play, making certain people know their positions, attacking and defending, and then you really go through it in the video analysis. So I would like to think that the teams that I've coached have gone out knowing what our set play should look like and what they're going to come up against. But at the end of the day, it is a question, well, what delivery have we got? What delivery are we facing? How keen are we to get on the end of the ball? And how keen were they to get on the end of the ball? And sometimes you'll come away saying, well, they were better than us at set plays, but it might not be because they had better shape for their set plays. It might just have been that the quality was better and they had people prepared to make the effort to get on the end of the ball.
Does help. I mean, I've been thinking of set pieces for a while, and on the final word, we've done some analysis over the weeks. And my initial impression, as you're talking there about, you know, the percentage of set pieces that have been scored this season, my initial feeling, and I don't know if I would be right, would be that a lot of corners are being scored from this season. Fewer goals from direct free kicks nowadays. Yeah, obviously, the Lion players under the wall, then that enables everyone to jump. Very few goals going from direct free kicks compared to in previous seasons. So, but I guess by the end of it, as Roy said, by the end of the season, it'll be a similar number to normal. But I do think corners are becoming possibly more important, and as I say, maybe free kicks less relevant. But there will be somebody that's analysing this and thinking, right, we're going to have to do something different now to gain an advantage in a certain thing. And I think the free kicks, direct free kicks from the edge of the box, are the next thing to be changed. I think there's not enough goals going in from them at the moment. I think that'll change soon.
Well, our man Chris is analysing it, as you would expect. 80 corner goals this season, which is down on this stage last season. Only 7 direct free kick goals all season in the Premier League.
Yeah.
OK, so corners are down as well.
Corners are slightly down.
That's fascinating, because they have made all the headlines, haven't they? Especially with Arsenal.
And I think that's what you were alluding to there, wasn't it?
It's still quite a... Even if the percentage stays at a third, or just over a third, that's still an awful lot of goals.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're... Especially if you're conceding from them, you know, or having a good spell where you're scoring, it's going to make an enormous difference, because 1/3 of all your goals scored. Goals are hard to score, as Michael knows more than any of us. You know, to have someone who can get those goals for you, either through free play or from set plays, that's going to make a hell of a difference at the end of the season. You know, the last time, my last period at my last season at Palace, we conceded a lot.
Chelsea secured a vital 3-1 victory over Wolves at Stamford Bridge, moving into the Premier League's top 4. The Blues ended their 5-game winless league run, while Wolves' defensive struggles left them teetering above the relegation zone on goal difference. The game started with Chelsea taking the lead as Tosin Adarabioyo scored from a Reece James effort, with VAR overturning an offside call. However, Wolves equalised in first-half stoppage time after a Robert Sanchez error gifted Matt Doherty an easy goal. Chelsea dominated the second half. Marc Cucurella restored their lead in his 100th Premier League appearance, and Trevoh Chalobah set up Noni Madueke for a decisive third goal just minutes later. Wolves' defensive woes. Set pieces remain a nightmare for Wolves, with 19 conceded this season. Manager Vito Pereira's side has now lost 3 consecutive league matches, underscoring their struggle to maintain defensive discipline. Chelsea back in the top 4. The win was a major boost for Chelsea. Marc Cucurella and Trevoh Chalobah made crucial contributions, while Noni Madueke's goal showcased the team's efficiency. Chelsea now sit 4th, 2 points ahead of Manchester City. Chelsea fans, can the Blues hold on to their top 4 spot? Wolves supporters, what needs to change to turn things around? Share your thoughts in the comments. Like, share and subscribe to SportLab for more match breakdowns and football updates. See you next time.